Good morning. Mike here. I wanted to show how I have taken the OutEquipPro and mounted it to the top of my older RV that's got a ceiling thickness of 7 inches. Now the unit is not necessarily made for that thickness of ceiling, but I'm going to show you a way that I made it work for this older RV with the thicker ceiling. And so it was quite a journey. It took me a day or so to get it all worked out, but it is possible to make this unit work on RVs with thicker ceilings. And without further ado, I'll turn you over to the video that I've compiled on how I did it. Alright, enjoy. Well, here's how the package arrived. Looks okay. I think it's okay. I think we're okay. All right. I think we're all right. So everything looks well packaged. Let's see. This must be the gasket. I think that's the gasket. Let's see here. Okay, all right. Okay, here we go. Packing and packing. Wow, a little wider than I thought it was. Looks like everything made it. Here's the 15. Oops. Here's the 15-foot cable. I think it's 15 feet. Looks like there's a fuse in line on the positive side. That's pretty good. Didn't expect it to come wrapped. Anyway, I'll get started taking it out the box, and we'll see where we're at. Okay, the unit's out of the box. Right here, let's see. These are the pretty thick steel bars. Set that there. This must be the gasket, yeah. This is the gasket right here. So, more packaging. Alright. A bag of the remote and all the hardware. This is the faceplate. on the inside. Okay. I think these blocks are on the back side to hold it up level. I think that's what these are for. And of course the bezel or the ring, let's see, trouble descriptions on the error codes. Voltage 12 volt, refrigerant 134A. Nice, very nice. Okay, looks like everything arrived safe and sound. So the first thing I'm noticing after unpacking it is, of course, this is the air exit chamber. This is your air intake right here, and there's no filter. So I'm going to be, once I get further along, fitting a filter. I'm going to fit a filter in here. Let's fit a filter in there. Because again, this is the air exit chamber. This is the intake right here. So they don't include a filter. So I'll have to fab on that. The other thing I'm noticing, they give you 5 of each of these size threaded rods. For my RV, neither of these are long enough. So I thought ahead, and from Amazon I ordered M8 by, I think it says 250 millimeter by M8 fully threaded rods, so that I am pretty certain that this is going to be long enough for my RV. I have a very thick roof of foam, so we'll see as I get further along if this is going to work. And that's about all I see just now, so back to you shortly. Well, I've got to get it from down here on the ladder up the ladder to up there. Alright, so I'm wondering how I'm going to do that. I'm going to pick it up from the bottom. I'm going to slide it up that ladder until I get to the top and over the top. Alright, wish me luck. Okay, in an effort to show you a few things that I've not seen on any of the other videos. So you have this area here that's got to be centered into the 14 by 14. So according to my measurements, I want to burn right here. I want to burn 2.5 inches from this part, from this end right here. I'm burning 2.5 inches, right? I'm coming across, and then here at 14 is the hole, and then 1, 2.5 burn on this side. So now it's centered into the 14 by 14. Now I want to be able to put this support strip on the back of the unit, but I don't want it covering up any of the vents. I want it to be on a rib, like right there. You see, it's on a rib to where I've got airflow all the way around. So I'm going to put it on this rib. I'm going to put it on this rib right here. So according to my measurements here, if I'm putting it on that rib, my measurement is going to be 20 3/4 inches from the front of the 14-inch hole. So that being said, we go over here to the 14 by 14 hole. So let's place the tape measure and burning that same 2.5 right here to the inside of the 14 by 14. I'm burning the 2.5, and we're going to walk down 20 3/4 inches. Hold on. I'm burning the 2.5. It's right there. You come over here, 20 3/4 is going to fall right here. So that's where I'm going to put this support strip, starting at 20 3/4, just like that. Starting at 20 3/4, just like that. So that's where the support strip is going to be located. Alright, come back to you when I get the support strip mounted, and we'll talk about placing the unit into the 14 by 14 hole. So burning this 2.5 on the opening right there, walking down to 22 1/4, and I put my support pieces 22 1/4. That falls on this rib right here, right there, which is almost to the end of the, so it's got full support. Okay, so I've got the bars in place with the longer all-thread rod, which is 8mm, I think. So I had to use the long rods that I showed you earlier, and I had to cut 1.5 inches off of them to make them work. Now that I've got both of them in place with the nuts, the lock washer and the flat washer in place, I'm going to start cranking them down and pulling the air conditioner down onto the gasket. So I just wanted to show you that. Okay. Okay. So here's what we've got come up with. You see, I had to build a shroud, and I partitioned it off so that the intake is separate from the exhaust. I mean, the blower side is separate from the intake, and so that's what we got. And we turn it around like so. You can see how this is going to fit right inside here like so. You see how that's going to work? See, it's partitioned off from the warm air side. This is the cold air side. And because the roof is so thick, you know, 6.5 inches thick, I had to extend this. So essentially, if I put it into the shroud, we just fit it in there. Somehow. Oh, all right. Anyway, that's going to fit in there like so. Let me do it like this. Let me set the shroud on there. Maybe I can do it like this. Shroud's going to fit on there like so, right? Then this fits inside. Like so. Just like that. And so you can see this is your cold air blow side, and then this is your exhaust side. I mean your warm air side. Because pulling warm air here, blowing cold air here, had to isolate because the thickness of my roof, you can see the thickness of my roof is 6.5 inches. So the only way for this to work, to connect, is to do it like that. So another view would be, let me bring you around here. You see, there you go. There's a good view. See how we've isolated the cold air side from the warm air side, and that's what it's all about. You have to have this partition in there, so you have to fabricate this shroud, so to speak, which is actually going the other way. Let me show you. So now you can see how it's going to fit. Again, this is your cool air, blowing out cool air. This is your intake of warm air, and they're separated by a partition right there. So next thing to do is to get this up into the ceiling, and I'll come back to you when I get that done. So we've got the homemade spacer put in here. We've got the partitions of where it blows the cold air out, and we've got the intake of warm air separate from this. Now I'll still be putting a few pieces of foam right here to tighten that up on both sides. Without the white shroud, it just fits right in like so. And of course, when we've got the white shroud put on, it'll cover all my screw holes, all my screws, so it'll look nice and clean. But that's basically, for my application, this is going to work great. Now I will say that I don't think they make RVs. I don't think they make RVs with this much thickness of a roof anymore. I think they've tightened that down. But back in the early days, this is a 2002 Jayco Designer. Back in that day, they made the roofs about 6.5 inches thick of foam So you got the 1/4 inch board for the ceiling, you got another 1/4 inch board on the roof, and in between you've got 6.5 inches of foam, styrofoam. So the ceilings back in the day were really what you might call insulated. So this application can be made to work with the thicker ceilings, as you've seen I've done, but it's not made for these thick ceilings. I had to make it work. It's probably made and geared more towards vans, you know, camper vans where you've only got a one-piece metal, and that it closes up on that real good. And it may even close up on a ceiling that's maybe 1.5 inches thick, which I think the newer RVs, I think you still are going to have to do a shroud. Mine was extreme because of the extreme thickness of the roof. But anyway, it looks to me like everything's going to work out fine. Once I get the rest of it mounted, I'll come back to you. Okay, I've got the big shroud on, the unit put in. Haven't wired it. I'm just checking everything out. I've got to put something to back up on these two holes here so I can put screws in there. But other than that, these two are holding it very well. So basically that's what my unit is going to look like when installed. And I think it looks pretty darn nice. I think it looks pretty darn nice. This hole right here is from the old AC Coleman Mach 5 1550 BTU unit that was ducted. So I'm going to have to figure something out about patching that, covering it up. I won't be using that. Other than that, I think that I've showed you guys everything that needs to be. That's pretty close. Needs to be done to be able to install this unit in an older RV with thick ceilings, 6.5 inches of foam. It can be done, but it's got to be done a certain way. And I guess I'll see you next on hooking the power up to the battery bank. My battery bank, if the end of the unit's about right here. So all I got to do is go down around the front of the camper there and straight down to the battery bank, which is mounted on the tongue of the RV, which is what most are. Anyway, I'll see you later. Well, it says they gave us 12 feet of cord. I got the end of it here. Now my battery bank is on the front. It's on the front tongue. And what's in the way of that is the drop down body that goes down over the front window. Is right in the way of going straight down. But I'm going to see if I might have enough room for that to reach my battery bank, just like that, coming out of the unit. You see, coming out of the unit, straight down the front and straight on into the down underneath this window covering here to the battery bank. So we'll see. I'll be right back with you. So I've got the connections just coming down from the roof. You see, all the way down from the roof up there. Comes all the way down around the window down. I've got the red positive hooked up to the right side battery, and right here I've got the black hooked up to the left side battery. Alright, so power is hooked up to the battery bank, which incidentally is have two 200 amp hour batteries on the outside and two 100 amp batteries on the inside, for a total of 600 amp hour battery bank. That being said, right here in the yard I've got four 100 watt panels on a pole that can be turned and tilted. Then right here I've got 5 100 amp solar panels on this side of the roof. And then if we walk all the way around through the yard, I've got on top of the roof there, I've got another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 100 amp panels. 9, and the 5 on the other side is 14, and then the 4 on the pole there makes 1800 watts of solar panel configuration that I've got, powering 600 amp hours of battery bank right there on the front of the RV. Here's a side shot of, I had an old window unit stuck in that front room right there, which is the kitchen. I'm going to be pulling that out because now I've got the 10,000 watt BTU unit that we're just installing. So we'll see about removing that, or we'll leave it for emergency use or whatever. But anyway, next up, powering everything on. So I turned it on. It automatically was set to 68 degrees Fahrenheit. And right now I've got 3 bars on the fan, so that's like mid. It's putting out real cool air. I'm gonna take a thermometer temperature of the air in just a minute, but I just wanted to show you. It's even got a little battery gauge right here that that tells you how good your battery is. But in my case, I can just look down here and tell my battery bank is at 12.6. So it's still fully charged. I doubt it's going to move much from there, being as I only got it on the 3 fans. But if I take it and I go 4 fan, 5 fan, that's max. That's blowing a little bit of current, but boy, it's blowing some cool air. How about this? It's amazing. A 12-volt air conditioner. It's on full power. Turbo power. I suppose is what that is. Anyway, I'll put a thermometer on this and see how cold the air is. Alright. There's the thermometer in here. Let's see if I can make it read. I got 50. There you go. So far we got 50. Can we get 49? 50 degrees seems to be where it's staying. Well, I'll tell you what, that's pretty much ice cold on a 90-degree day. 50 degrees. Blowing 50-degree cold air. And I mean, it is cold. 50 degrees. 49. We just hit 49. Ooh-wee. How about that? 49 degrees. Alright, 49 degrees. That's pretty good. It's 84 outside, and right now it's 77 in here. So 83.6 outside, 77.5 inside. I'm about 10 feet away from the unit, sitting on the couch, and I can feel the cold air. So we'll see how long it takes to drop. This is a pretty big RV. It's got a big slide out on it, so it might take a little bit for that 77.5 to go down, but 49 degree weather, I mean a 49 degrees. Wow, it looks good up there on the ceiling. Looks real good up there on the ceiling. 49 degree air. Alright, I'll get back to you. This unit seems to be working just fine. You can see the drips. You see it? See it dripping? Now I know it's supposed to be on level ground, and my RV is, well, it's pretty dead gum level, but I can see because it's draining on this side of the camper. You see, she's draining right down, hitting this ridge here, going right down into my gutter and straight down. And it is very humid today here, 85 degrees, and you can see it's just a dripping, so it does condensate quite a bit. But I have no leaks inside the house. I was just watching a video where the old boy was having a problem on a shell camper, a corrugated roof on the inside, and he cranked it off and it was leaking on the inside. He did not caulk around the gasket. Now I've watched videos where they say you need to caulk around the gasket. You see the gasket under there? And then compress it pretty good, you know. Now I'm underneath an awning, so I have no weather that's going to get to the air conditioner itself. So I didn't caulk around the gasket. I just compressed it. You know, not a whole lot. Only about a 1/4 inch. See, there's another drip going down. So it's dripping from the back of the unit and the front of the unit. And it's all coming off on the right side of my camper, which is my front side. See, straight down. Here's my trough gutter. It's filled with water because it's dripping and leaking, dripping right out where it's supposed to drip, right over there. So in my opinion, this thing is solid water drip right there on the front. It puts out some water. It's real humid here today. But I'm glad to say that it is not dripping inside the house at all. I've got this thing on turbo. Had it on turbo now for about 30 minutes. We'll walk in and see how much the temperature has dropped. But I do not have a problem with the unit condensating and working itself to the inside of the house. It's just not happening here. Now my roof is kind of, what do you call that kind? It's like this, except for where the unit is. The unit, it's flat, so you're right in the middle, and so it's either going to, depending on it where the camper is as far as level, it's either going to drip off to the left side or it's going to drip off to the right side. And in my case, it's all dripping off to the right side. Lots of water. It's really, that condenser is really putting out a lot of condensate. So, but for me, I'm telling you, 49-degree air blowing on the inside, and this thing is quiet. I mean, it is quiet. Right over here is the big Coleman unit that came with a camper, and it always dripped off to this side also, you know. But that son of a gun right there, it burns some electricity, and it's very uneconomical. So with the size of my battery bank and as many panels as I've got, I think I can self-sustain. Now I am watching the battery bank. It's still sitting at 12.3. So it went down from 13 down to 12.3, but that's right in the middle of, you know, the capacity of the bank. I mean, it'll sit at 12.3 for hours. Now we'll walk down and see how many amps the controller is allowing to go into the battery bank. We'll do that now. Well, it's pretty doggone cool in here. It's still 83.8 degrees, 84 degrees outside, but look, my inside temperature here has dropped to my 75.9. So that's down from 78.5, if you remember earlier. So this unit, man, this thing is putting out, it is putting out 49-degree air. I still got a set of 68. It's on turbo, and the fan is really blowing hard. That's good. So I actually think I heard the compressor slow down, so it is getting to the temp. As the temperature goes down, the compressor compensates. So as it goes down and gets closer to the 68, that compressor will get really low. So if I took the 68, we're at 75 inside. If I put this up to 75, I should hear the compressor walk down a little, but I don't hear it doing it yet. So anyway, keep you posted. So I set it to 72, which is a little closer to our 75.5, which is what it is in here, 75.5. So I set it to 72, and I heard the compressor inch its way down. And when it did, it raised the battery from 12.3 to 12.5, because it's not pulling as hard on the battery bank now. So, man, this thing is amazing. For off-grid, I'll tell you what, running off a good sized battery bank, this thing is working phenomenally. Can't say no more good about it. So I never saw anybody talk about this unit having lights. Look at there. It's got lights on it. Can you believe that? If you want to dim the LED, you can take the LED right off. You see? Off, on. You can turn the lights on. They're not real bright, but they're bright enough to see in here. That's amazing. Nobody ever talked about the lights. Now I'm only running 3 bars on the fan right now, and my battery bank is sitting at 12.5 here. But watch this. I can show you what the voltage is right at the unit. 12.3. See, it's got a voltage button right here. Voltage button. Tell you what the voltage is on the fly. Whoop, right here. 12.3. How about that? That's pretty cool.